Dude, if I don't have if you didn't get a mic stand and a headphones, why have we been doing this? I don't even look legit.
I know. Is this a podcast?
It's not a podcast,
it's not. It's Grimecast.
But I look like an amateur.
Yeah.
We need to have a whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah. Cigars and fucking table full of shit.
Why?
Why, oh, why? Okay. This next question comes from Hunter Kramer at Merlin's Cavern.
I love the name of that shop.
In Wisconsin.
That's a sick-ass name.
Shout out Merlin's Cavern in Wisconsin. Hunter Kramer asks, I'm having difficulty using round shaders appropriately with coils. Any tips on how you maximize their effectiveness?
I almost always use a shader machine. I would use a color packing type machine, something that runs a little slower, has more of a slappier hit. That's my jam for those. I think they work amazing. I don't know what else I would say besides that's what I choose. I don't use a liner. I don't use like a black and gray shader. I use a color machine that I use for magnums, and I put that in there. And it will run smoother and get like a more even kind of pack. If you use those type of medium tapers in a liner machine, for me, I've done it, and you run and you're doing the color, it ends up being a little bit splotchy in a weird way because it just doesn't pack in a smooth manner. It's like so aggressive and kind of weird that I personally don't get great results. I get really good results when I do a color type machine. So you have to choose your go-to color machine, and I would use that. And aside from that, I would have to watch you tattoo to see if there's something else that I think you could, improve on, but I don't know what else I would say besides, get good, make sure you're getting good ink and then getting a good stretch and then, running your machine about the same speed. I run it about the same, like maybe at the low end of what you would use for your magnums, right? Like you don't want to run it where you're like, I'm running it 10.5 volts for my 25 mag. Run it about what you run for like a 7 to 9 mag maybe. That's probably what I would do. Because I don't want it to be too slow. I want
turn
it to
it down
go
just a bit.
Maybe on the lower end of what you normally kind of your range is for your color machine, and that's what I would do, and hopefully that works for you.
Awesome. So we'll just stay with the topic and switch over to cartridges. So this next question is from Omar Morales Sanchez at Tiger House Tattoo, Miami, Florida. Hey Grime, generally speaking, lining with cartridges has mixed reviews among many artists. And I'm interested in what your thoughts are and why this is so. Thanks for your time, Omar.
What's up, Omar? I think there's a couple reasons to that. Sometimes that they're just cartridges are a little bit harder to manipulate than a needle on bar situation is, right? So there's some of that. I find sometimes that some pen machines, the way that they make the cart run, can also kind of influence that. Almost like when you're running a coil and it's set up just a little bit fucking weird and your ink starts running up the back of the needle bar and you're like, you get that. Or you don't even notice until it's like on you. You're like, oh cool, it's up all the way up the back of my machine on me now. Sometimes it's just the weird kind of, I don't know, the alchemy of tattooing a little bit. But aside from that, sometimes it's running the machine at the right speed, getting a good stretch, making sure you allow the machine to run and the ink cap to pull a good enough amount of ink into it. And then also I find on the carts, maybe more than needle on tube, needle on bar, sometimes I find that the ink, after a little work, you'll want to rinse them out. I find sometimes a little bit of buildup of drying ink, a little bit in the carts, will disrupt and make the ink run, not optimally. So sometimes I'll rinse out after a little bit of line work to make sure that there isn't stuff building up and getting kind of weird, and then changing the way it's going to flow. Aside from that, I don't have any magic bullets for you. I'm sorry.
Perfect.